A found footage film set in the very area I often go nearby. Ah, this should be a good watch. Hey everyone, it's Don G. Corleone here, and I am here with a brand new episode of Halloween Horror Movies 5, and this episode is going to be for 2011 found footage film Grave Encounters, which is directed by the Vicious Brothers, and it's a found footage film for 2011. A found footage horror film set at Riverview Hospital. So, what is the plot of Grave Encounters? Well, Lance Preston, the crew of this fictional ghost hunting show called Grave Encounters, pretty much decided to go shoot an episode inside the Ben Hollywood Psychiatric Hospital, which is pretty much the Riverview Hospital, for those who didn't know that, obviously know the location, where unexplained phenomena has been reported for years. All in the name of good television, they voluntarily lock themselves inside the building for the night, and they begin their paranormal investigation, capturing everything they can on camera. Then they quickly realize that the building is more than just haunted, it is alive. It has clearly has no intention of letting any of these people leave. They then find themselves lost in a labyrinth maze of endless hallways and corridors, and they're terrorized by the ghosts of the former patients, and soon they begin to question their own sanity, slipping deeper and deeper into the depths of madness, and they discover the truth behind the hospital's dark past. It's even what would turn out to be the very final episode they would ever do. Yeah, so, how was this film made? Well, this film was written and directed by the Vicious Brothers, Corleone and Stuart Ortiz. This pair sought to create this project in a horror genre, and they wanted to maintain a low budget and utilize the mockumentary format, when found footage horror films like Paranormal Captivity were achieving commercial success. And apparently, according to Minnie, he and Ortiz worked like wonder why no one made a found footage film out of ghost hunting shows. So, these two wrote a script for the film like roughly 85 pages in length, and they allowed the members of the cast to improvise during filming. And Grave Encounters was filmed at the legendary Riverview Hospital, which was a former mental institute at Coquitlam, British Columbia, which had closed down and demolished though, but like this hospital has served as a location for a number of television and film procs, like Final Destination 2, or Happy Gilmore, or even Deadpool 2, the orphanage scenes. That all use a lot of movies use this location. Guys, I've driven by this I've been on buses in Coquitlam. The buses sometimes go near that area. I've been past it loads of times. A number of visual effects were even accomplished, like with computer-generated imagery, like there and stuff like So, after the film was shot, like Grave Encounters didn't really get a full wide release though. But it did premiere at the Tribeca Film Festival on April 22nd, 2011, and its trailer went viral online prior to premiere and got over 30 million views. Then it had a limited theatrical run in the United States and was released on video on demand on August 25th, 2011, once it was time to release the movie to the general public. There. And upon release, the film received mixed reviews from critics, but since it was like about $200-something thousand with the budget, it made back a fine enough amount for a limited release. So it got a sequel a year afterwards, and this movie got a cult following ever since its release. Now, as for my reaction to Grave Encounters, for somebody that isn't the biggest found footage person, there's been rare exceptions like VHS 2 and VHS 85, Rec 1 and 2, Cloverfield Chronicle, The Searching movies. This one is among the few that I like. I don't love, but I like. And one of the few that I actually thought was really scary. In a lot of parts. Like the cast, like they're decent, they get the point across, like I was not annoyed by any of the actors. No, I was not annoyed by any of the characters. I meant to say characters. Like, the plot is pretty simple. Like, I like the idea of a found footage horror film about a ghost hunting crew, about a ghost hunting TV show crew, where they decide to go make a show featuring the paranormal. And like knowing this lunatic asylum with a reputation for hauntings, they go there one night and they investigate. They don't take anything seriously though and explore the asylum, but when they hear noises and wonder if they had made a mistake visiting the place in the first place. Like, it's pretty much another typical lost footage horror film, and like pretty much, like Grave Encounters does play the formula very well, and like easily yeah, it does it like really well. It still has the same like found footage cliches, but it actually does use them really well. Like, they don't like lie about it. Like, the trailer didn't lie about the scares. Like, they're like, no, like, I like this film actually does try to be scary. The movie also works wonders with the location it has. Like, you have to interplay with the characters on camera, and often once the spooky things start happening, like, it's done in a way that does not ruin all the good stuff and get repetitive. And it just builds on previous hints and behind you shots, and then until the viewer starts jumping out of the shadows. And what sets it apart, though, that the Vicious Brothers like really embrace all the standard found footage cliches, and they have fun with them. It's not like just objects moving and strange noises and then seeing ghosts terrorizing the cast. Like, they make it a point with them literally running up to the camera. There's even a few bits that are actually generally fun, too. And the cast is like decent. They get the point across. Like, yeah, none of the characters were annoying. Like, I think like when it comes to the best of the characters, I think Houston was definitely the best of the characters. When it comes to the ghost hunting crew, like this movie actually does, like, the crew in this movie actually looks like they're having fun making the film and kind of like somewhat being a little self-aware of the found footage genre. Anyway, they kind of do make fun of some of the problems with found footage. Now, how does our movie start? Well, we start off with kind of like a producer explaining that we're about to watch the very final episode of the Grave Encounter show, the last we ever saw of the crew, and then we meet the leader of the crew, Jerry Hartfield, the producer, like, pretty much there. Like, he's just, Jerry Hartfield is explaining what happened, and then we get on with the actual movie where we meet our crew of Grave Encounters, Lance, Sasha Parker, Matt White, the cameraman TC or Gibson, and fake medium Houston Gray. The crew gets invited to examine the abandoned Hollywood Psychiatric Hospital, where unexplained phenomena got reported for years, and Kennedy, the hospital's caretaker, takes the crew on a day tour and informs them of the hospital's history, especially like of this doctor named Arthur Friedkin, who performed like unethical experiments on lobotomies on hospital's patients, and before they were basically killed by them. And like this one, you actually do get a chance to see what paranormal investigators would do for an investigation. Like in a way, like it sometimes shows that maybe sometimes, like, you wouldn't always get good responses from one investigation, but unless you were lucky. But once it does get interesting, like, in a way, like, and also, like, the lights obviously do have to be out while investigation is ongoing. Like, and I also like that this takes place at a psychiatric hospital. Like, it's a perfect little haunted place if you're going to do a movie like Grave Encounters. Like, a psychiatric hospital is also haunted, that you'd be expected to be spooked and get some great results very quickly. And guys, like, yeah, like I've already said, I recognize this hospital all the time, any movie it's shown. Because I've taken buses into Coquitlam, and this bus, whenever I get to the Coquitlam Theater, this bus would often go by this place all the time. And I'm very familiar with the place, and it's a very recognizable location. Like, right there. I always know when I ever see this in a movie. This location was in a lot of movies. The bulk of the film is the edited footage that just reminds us of the ill-fated ghost hunters that we lost on this expedition. As usual, in movies like this, like, the hospital gets closed, and it's rumored to be haunted. There's a shady doctor in the past that performed unethical experiments on the patients. And it goes without, like, saying that the paranormal investigators aren't really too serious about their lives' work, like, here, but that's also done to kind of make fun of the found footage genre here. Like, this was kind of made around the time when found footage was being done to death, and some people were getting kind of worn out of it. Like, already way too early, especially with all the bloody Paranormal Activity sequels that were coming out. So this film kind of, in a way, does make fun of it. Kind of shows the problem with found footage movies. right there. Like, it takes the handy cam style and ramps it all up. Like, there's still shocks, there's jump out of your seat moments, some really scary parts in the film. Like, yeah, I like that this one just actually tries to be scary when it needs to be scary. The acting was pretty solid, and I mean, as much as it does kind of start off a little slow at first, like, Great Encounters has like the short of ghostly shocks and scares and excellent jump moments that, you know, I wish Paranormal Activity had those moments. I really do wish that. Like, if Paranormal Activity was as scary as this, then I would have seen why people loved it so much. Right here, like this is honestly better than a lot of the more major Hollywood found footage horror films. In a way, I think I like this better than a majority of those. Like, it's always the independent ones that always end up being the best. Like, the only, like, Hollywood-made found footage films that have worked were, like, Cloverfield and Chronicle and the Searching movies. Like, they don't shove too many horror cliches in this movie. And it wasn't overly predictable either. Yeah, if it's a found footage film, you know how it's obviously going to end, but they didn't make it too obvious, and they at least still went along. And they at least didn't try to make it way too obvious from the very start. So yeah. Right there. So anyway, now, after they visit the hospital, they immediately the crew then lock themselves inside the hospital for the night, and they begin their investigation. They set up a camp near the main entrance, and there's static cameras through the building. And pretty much most of the time for the first little bit, no activity really occurs in the first few hours until TC captures the door slamming behind him. Then the crew attempts to establish contact with any entities that might be in the hospital, and they hear unexplained sounds, and Sasha's hair appears to be lifted into the air by an unseen force. Then they go back downstairs to pack up because they decide they've had enough filming this night. They got enough footage, it's time for them to end the episode. And they go to prepare for Kenny's return when he gets all the equipment. Matt, though, sets out alone to retrieve all the cameras, but before Matt's about to retrieve the last one, a banging noise grabs Matt's attention, and he goes off to investigate it, and then he just disappears. And then he's gone for most of the film. And when neither Matt nor Kenny returns, the crew then tries to leave themselves. But when they open the front door that they came in through, they discover what was supposed to lead outside. It leads to another hallway. They walk down the hallways, and pretty much by then they realize, by then they probably see an exit door. There's an exit door, let's go out. There's more hallway. It just never ends. Right there. And by then it's like already dawn, but it's still dark outside. The crew then returns to the lobby and they try to sleep it out, but they get awoken when the construction light they set up falls forward and it breaks. So then TC is getting fed up and tells Lance that a fire escape is on the roof. So they go to a stairwell with rooftop access. They do find a sign that says rooftop access, but that's been blocked off by a built wall. It's blocking their escape. Like, it is so clear this building is really possessed. It does not want their asses to leave. It really sets up that fear factor and claustrophobic feel well. So they go on and backtrack, and they look at this map on the wall. They also have a compass spin around directions, and the group hears what does sound like Matt screaming, and they run through the halls hoping to find Matt. But then they get to the room where they hear Matt screams, and they encounter this metal bed frame that just literally lifts up into the air. And Fro gets thrown on the floor, and then they run in terror. So when they stop to rest, then this happens throughout the film. Sometimes the things will calm down, and then another thing will randomly happen. Right there. Sometimes things will change, or sometimes entranceways that were originally leading out will be blocked, or things will move on their own. Or if they stop to rest, they wake up. Some things have happened to them. And they find the word hello scratched onto Sasha's back. Eventually they decide to continue looking for Matt, but they use their walkie-talkies, but their walkie-talkies are not working. Then, one of the biggest jump moments of the film. They find this woman in a hospital gown. And when they ask her what she's doing there, and they try to get her attention, she turns around and goes "Rah!" at them. When I first saw this scene, this was how it went for me. Yeah, that's how scary this fucking film gets. They flee from the entity in fear, but Houston gets separated from them and he wanders the halls. Then he gets lifted by the air and choked by a bright light burst from the end of the hallway, and it sends Houston flying and he dies. So now there's 3 people gone. Matt's gone. Houston's now gone. So Lance, Sasha, and TC, the only 3 left, they hide a room for several hours, and they find it's been fitted with hospital identification bracelets with their names now. Like, several shit happens to them, like, while they don't even notice, too. Like, so the trio roams the halls again. Then there's an arm smashing through the window and a door, and it grabs Sasha. But Lance manages to free her, and they continue running down the hallways. And Lance comforts her, so these guys aren't assholes. I mean, they're not like immature douchebags, so like at least they do still care about one another at their worst moments right there. Like, that shows like these guys at least do care about one another. But then TC yells at them to come to a room where apparently he found Matt. While this was happening, TC managed to find Matt, so Matt's not dead yet. Matt's like wearing this hospital gown. He's now insane, and he's mumbling incoherently claims that they can leave the building when they're like, well, better. And that's like this, some dude will help them out. Like, yeah, this film is creepy and scary at times with so many surprises that come out of nowhere. Either black arms will be will be on the ceiling trying to grab at the characters, or either there'll be plenty of other entities they keep encountering that even keep coming after them. Like, it's not a film that's like relying on jump scares as much as more of its creepy atmosphere. There's creepy moments in the film that definitely can give the viewer quite a few chills. And the backstory behind why this place is haunted, okay, sure. The backstory part is a little bit cliche, but it's still kind of a creepy backstory for the place. Like, at least they still make a pretty creepy backstory for this place and why it's kind of a possessed place. The jump scares in this film, like, they are very plentiful of them, and they are quite effective. Like, they're not like the Blumhouse jump scares with the door slams like the Paranormal Activity films love to do, because Jason Blum thinks doors are scary, apparently. No. You actually see the entities, you actually see the damn demons. Right here, you don't get lied about that. You do get some cheesy jump scares, but that still gets saved because you have some killer special effects. Right there. Right. Like there. And you actually get a nice concept with found footage too. Like having actually a found footage ghost hunter episode. Like now, and even like the less in your face scares also work too, such as like when TC's investigating a bathroom, a door closes randomly, or Matt finds this window open when he's picking up the static cameras, and the abandoned wheelchair moves on its own while TC's on his phone even. Right there, talking to his family on the phone. And there's even scenes when you have a ghostly apparition literally running right towards the camera with this ink black mouth, and there's also, you even have hands punching through a window to grab Sasha, or arms like coming through the walls in the ceiling, like right there. So yeah, this film has quite a few well done scares. But the one scare that really is the big selling point, like the whole concept, like whenever these guys think they found a way out, the building, it changes all the time. And like, this just had me shocked speechless. Like, I was like, that used to be a way out. Why the fuck is it blocked or changed? Like right there, that is effective. Effective, just having this place change. Like, there's a way out. No, there's more hallways. Hey, there's rooftop access. No, that wall's all sealed off. Right there. like right there, like you do have some hope they may escape, but it turns out like no, it just leads to more cluelessness, and it leads to just being more trapped. Like, these guys try to convince themselves that like someone got turned around, and like make home base are in the lobby, but then Sasha sees the same death awaits on the outside of the door right there. And then Lance, like, realizing that by then it's like 8:30 a.m. because the longer they're in that building, it looks like it's the same night. But guys, like, this whole movie actually takes place within a whole amount of days right there. Because like the entities are making it look like it's still the same night. It's still nighttime out. Like right there. Like they're trapped in this place for so many hours right there. Like there and just like more. Just this whole idea of being stuck, lost within this one building is a terrifying concept. Like whenever they go to look for someone or something, it takes them forever because they're always getting turned around because the demons are playing tricks on them. And eventually they just give up because they search, they can't find a stairwell, and they know they've climbed 4 flights of stairs. They find a map that says where they are, but and that says they're still on the first floor. Like that seems like a very maddening scenario to be in. But there, like you think there would be a way out, but there's like no way out. Like once you go inside this building, you're fucked. You're very well fucked. So now we get on with our finale. Our 4 remaining people, they're inside a room, and you get the hands part where the hands are reaching through the ceiling and the walls when they wake up. Then the group flees to a room of bathtubs, and then Matt's staring down a bathtub full of blood. TC tries to pull him away from it, but there's this figure that comes right out of the blood bathtub, drags TC into it. Sasha and Lance, they try to tip the tub over to save TC. TC's not inside it, so now TC's gone, and now it's only 3 left right here. And now Sasha and Matt are hysterical. Lance, on the other hand, it finds this elevator, but he can't pull the doors open. So he leaves Sasha and Matt to look for somebody to pry open the doors. Lance then yanks a rod out of a hospital cart, notices this bloody severe ton in the corner of the room. Lance, on the other hand, then sees a ghostly figure huddled up in the corner of the ceiling. That's this tongueless demon right there that comes out of fucking nowhere. Like, it seems like a calm bit right there where they're just trying to figure out to open this elevator door, but then when Lance sees this ton on the floor, it turns out it's a ghostly figure that is right above them. It is like right above them the whole time. Right there, and it begins chasing after them. Lance returns to his 2 remaining pals. They manage to get the elevator doors open, but the figure is getting closer to them. Right there, when they turn the flashlight on, it's already running towards them. Like, no, like this thing is not just scaring them off. It's fucking chasing them. And it's not like walking slowly like a zombie. It is running right towards them. There, so Lance and Sasha decide to keep the entity at bay. While this is all happening, Matt manages to lean forward and pretty much commits suicide by plunging several feet down the elevator shaft and killing himself. So now Matt is dead. And now it's just our 2 people left, Lance and Sasha. They go into the tunnel. So Lance and Sasha, they go to the tunnels where Matt's lying dead. They enter the tunnels. They search for an exit. They can't find an exit. And apparently they were wandering the whole day for it. Sasha starts to get ill and cough up blood violently. When the 2 are trying to sleep, like, this mist then shows up, and Sasha gets abducted by the mist. And now she's gone. And now, like, the film gets even scarier, darker here, because Lance is now the only one left. He's all by himself in these dark, claustrophobic tunnels, just wandering for hours, and now he's getting unstable. To the point where, like, Lance, like, one part... Now, okay, to be fair, this scene is kind of a part where it got ruined by some bad CGI, and that's where Lance finds this rat, and Lance smashes, kills, and eats it. Just the way the rat gets smashed is awful. It just, like, okay, this rat getting smashed had such horrible CGI, where it just looks like he's hitting the ground. And it already just immediately flattens like a toy. That is how bad the effects of this rat were. Oh my god. Like, they couldn't even try to hide the CGI. But then Lance passes out after eating the rat. Then he finds a door that leads to Friedkin's operating room. Right there, he finds evidence of the rituals and graphic photos of his operations, and then finding apparitions of Friedkin and several nurses. And then he accidentally gasps, and that startles the nurses. And when he knocks over something, then he turns back to see one nurse standing right at him and doing those faces like most of the demonic entities have been making. And then he gets dragged away from his camera, and you don't see what the nurses are doing to him, but you just see some books lying there for a while, and you can tell the doctors are doing some fucked up shit to him and stuff, but you don't really see it. So I like that you don't see what the doctors are doing to him, and that just leaves better to the imagination. It's better you kind of don't see what they're doing. Right there. Sometimes it's better when you don't see stuff. It's kind of scarier when you don't. And then, our very last shot of the film is Lance now lobotomized, saying that he can finally go home, and then pretty much signs off the footage, and that's, although I don't think he goes home at all, I don't think he's allowed to leave. Right there, yeah. I don't think he really means that he's able to leave. But that's it. That's literally how Grave Encounters ends. Yeah, it kind of ends the same as every found footage horror film, but at the same time, it's also kind of making fun of found footage films a lot of times too. Anyway, and plus, if this is literally about a final episode of a crew that went missing, of a ghost hunting crew that went missing on this expedition, then yeah, you probably know how it would obviously end. But that's it. Now you just know why their show got canceled. They didn't cancel it themselves. It was canceled after this episode they tried to film because they never made it out of this building, and all I saw them was that final episode that shows you why and all the footage they left behind. It's pretty much, yeah, I guess this could be kind of a good moral on why it's definitely be better we don't go exploring abandoned buildings in the first place, because you never know if it could start playing, if you never even know, without being prepared for anything, if you'd even be able to make it out. So, unless you have the right idea, it's definitely not smart to go explore abandoned areas. Now, buildings obviously wouldn't play tricks on you, but it's still a dangerous idea to do. Now, Grave Encounters was good, but would this movie have bad qualities? Well, alright. Some of the style the movie gets shot. When the cameras glitch out every time something supernatural happens. And some of the stretchy face ghosts. The very last one at the end, that got a little, it's what eventually kind of gets a little bit goofy. With the lady in the hospital gown, it was effective. After a while, when this kept happening, it kind of just got a little way too goofy at that point. When they kept on doing it. And it also does take a while for things to get going. You have to start a film, there was an element of satire when the production team, they literally bribed somebody to lie that they saw a ghost. This guard crew guy. And there's this actor claiming to be the psychic, so pretty much it's kind of like the whole thing they do with all the paranormal shows. And of course, and sometimes, the movie doesn't always make a lot of sense. So you kind of have to follow closely. And another thing, I also don't like the rat scene because of the shitty CGI they do on the rat. The way they use the CGI in this rat was garbage. But that being said, guys, I think Grave Encounters is an enjoyable flick, and it's probably one of the few found footage horror films that actually succeeds in scaring me, but it's not necessarily a worth buying movie either. It's definitely more of a stream online. So in the end, I'd say Grave Encounters is definitely a stream online for you all if you want a scary kind of found footage horror film that you kind of wish the first Paranormal Activity and the first VHS could have all been. Anyways, guys, that's it for my view of Grave Encounters. If we're going to rank Grave Encounters, here's how I'm going to rank this movie. So overall, if you're looking for quite a scary found footage horror film, then you're totally going to get that with Grave Encounters, but be warned that it is only a stream online because it can lead to a few problems. And if you're wondering how I'm going to rank Grave Encounters, I'm going to give Grave Encounters a 7 out of 10. Alright, there we go, guys. That wraps up my review for Grave Encounters. Now, we put this back onto the shelf. If I can fit it. Alright, I'll know what? I'll put it back later. Put it back later, right now. I just want to show what the next episode is so I can edit this review. I think get ready for bed. Sadly, our next episode is going to be for this long-awaited big fucking pile of shit. Fuck this fucking remake. Yep, time to once again rip another asshole in one of the worst fucking shot-for-shot remakes ever made. Time to burn that. Time to set fire to this fucking crap. And thank God I own this so I don't have to worry about streaming problems. Right? So it saves me from having to stream this pile of crap. At least this came with the Scream Factory box set. But yeah, whatever. It fell on the floor. I don't fucking care because I fucking hate that movie anyway. But yeah, till then, guys, that'll be it for this episode. Thank you all for watching. And if you like this, want to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe to Don G. Corleone.